Hey, Bjorn, how are you? Give me a mic check because I'm microphoneless, headphoneless, hoping that sound quality is okay. Cool. Thank you. Thank you. All right, so we'll just sit here, I guess, and wait for a few minutes. Let people roll in. Yeah, Chris B. The guy's always first, so he's got a methodology to work. So. Sound is skipping slightly. Okay. Unfortunately, I have no headphones, no microphone. So not much I can do, I think, to improve sound other than get really close to the laptop. I'm in Mexico, actually. So I will be actually meeting, if you guys remember in Montenegro, there was an event that we helped put together, at least content-wise. The person who founded that, not founded it, well, the person behind that event now lives actually very close to where I am in Mexico right now. And I'm going to meet him tomorrow, and we're going to discuss the next Futurama event, which will be held in Tulum. I'm a bit tired. Yeah, I've had a bit of jet lag for the past few days. I've been running around getting different things done. Spent pretty much 15 hours out in the outside trying to take care of a few things. So I'm a bit tired. Nope, not Talon. Yeah, I'm in Mexico, actually. I'll give you guys a quick glimpse. Watch, here we go. And so unfortunately, you can't really, because of the sun coming in there, you can't really see what's out there. Let's see if I can make this any better. No, that's not going to work. Well, suffice it to say, there's a very nice beach sitting out there. So this is my home that I have in Mexico. This is where I lived before I moved to Talon to deal with all of CoinMetro's business. So for any of those people who out there who think that, I don't know, there's been no struggle or no sacrifice. Well, here's one of the sacrifices. Nice Caribbean beach behind me. I haven't been here in almost a year. Okay, guys, I guess we can get started. So give me a second here to get organized. And that's what we'll do. So. Well, maybe slightly longer than a second. I just need to pull up my little weekly AMA document so I can see all the news stories and such. All right, that should work. Okay, here we go. So, sell that place and buy XM. Yeah. Well, real estate market right now is would make that difficult, unfortunately. But okay, here we go. So for those of you who's never joined us on this show before, my name is Kevin Murcko. I'm CEO at CoinMetro. Nice logo on the t-shirt. And if you see me before, you'd recognize that one, probably before you recognize my face. We do follow an agenda here on the show. First order of business is to go over market news. So we have usually 10 pieces of market news that were curated over the last week by members of our elite Telegram community. Thank you for that, guys and gals. Once we do that, I take about a minute on each one. Sometimes I take a bit longer. It depends. Sometimes I get passionate about these things, and I go on a tangent, and I take maybe 2 or 3 minutes on one. But generally speaking, about 1 minute per news article, and give you my opinion on it. Then we move on to Kevin Explains Crypto. I usually have a phrase or a word, generally from the crypto sphere, sometimes from the finance sphere. I explain what it means. Simple as that. Then we get on to live Q&A here on YouTube, and Reddit questions, also curated by our elite Telegram group, if time permitting, before the show ends. The show usually lasts about an hour. Let's see how it goes. Okay, so start with market news. Number 1 on a list of 10, U.S. to strictly enforce crypto rules similar to FATF guidelines. Well, inevitable. People don't know FATF, the Financial Action Task Force, is a global organization with members from all G20 member states, as well as other countries. As I don't even know what the number of FATF countries is up to, but it's over 100, I believe. So the main thing that I think when we talk about FATF is travel rule. It's one of the main. Well, what a lot of crypto exchanges were saying was that was a headache and too onerous, etc. It's a rather simple rule. If one financial institution, i.e. an exchange, sends your money or my money, or anyone's money, to another exchange, they need to tell both the sending exchange needs to tell the receiving exchange whose money that is, and the sending exchange needs to verify that it's going to the same account. Pretty simple, guys. So the U.S. is going to strictly enforce. I wouldn't expect them not to. Why? Well, when you transfer money cross-border, people, the law likes to know whose money that is. And whether that's money as in euros, dollars, or whether it's Litecoin, Bitcoin, shitcoin, whatever, why would that be any different? So, makes sense. Makes sense. So you don't have to like it, but it makes sense. Number 2 on the list of 10, Open VASP, Open VASP, a way for crypto exchanges to get around the travel rule in compliance with FATF. So I haven't read the full white paper, so I know there is a white paper. I heard about Open VASP. I think Crypto Valley Association. I think there's a few organizations that got together to try to build out an open protocol to share travel rule information. VASP, I think here standing for Virtual Asset Service Provider, more than likely. Look, guys, this isn't all that difficult, right? First of all, we have lots of protocols, no standards yet, right? I think Ethereum has a messaging system called Whisper built into their protocol where you can send messages back and forth. Other protocols have other messaging types. To be honest, Open VASP probably is going to be structured something like Swift, and the way Swift works with passing messages back and forth. To be honest, you don't even really need a protocol. I mean, a protocol may make it more standardized, may allow you to automate things. But to be quite honest, it's not really needed. I mean, it doesn't mean it doesn't make things nicer. But, guys, we have email, WhatsApp, Telegram. We have all these, not that you might want to send sensitive information on WhatsApp, considering all the back doors that have been found over the last X amount of time here. But we already have lots of messaging protocols. This is essentially, telling the receiver of that money, first knowing, this protocol isn't going to help you know that the money you're sending to is an exchange wallet. That you're going to have to use other data sources, right? A Chainalysis, Parsec, et cetera, these type of services that would allow you to know, okay, this wallet's tied to an exchange. And even then, you may miss one or two. But first of all, you need to understand that. Second of all, you just simply contact the exchange. So there may be a lot of exchanges, but in reality, money flows between what? 10, 20, usually. So you have contacts, right? Via some type of messaging protocol, could even be Slack, doesn't really matter. As long as you can secure it and you send the data back and forth, easy. But anyway, having a protocol is great. They made one. Is it going to be the standard? I have no idea. Will people use it? No idea. Eventually, will there be a standard to send data back and forth between crypto exchanges? Yep. And what will it be? I have no idea. But probably it'll be based on some type of current standard protocol, which is either maybe fixed protocol, fast protocol, perhaps even based, probably not based on what Swift uses since it's 40 years old, but it could be. Number 3 on the list of 10, Google branches into personal banking, a threat to Bitcoin. No. I think we talked about this before. Look, these guys, Google, Apple, all these major tech providers, all these guys already have equivalency of e-money licenses, and they do it because when they pay employees, they have to move money, they collect money from services all around the world, they have to move that money to some central headquarters to avoid tax, like Ireland, etc. And to do that easily, over the years, they've gotten these type of licenses anyway. So they have the licenses, they have the infrastructure. Google already had Google Pay, they already had a debit card at one point, etc. So why not? I mean, they're seeing Facebook move into payments. So Google flipped the switch and moved into payments because they were already in payments. And even if they weren't in payments, they were underpinning a lot of payments. And even if they weren't underpinning other people's payments, they make a lot of payments all over the world, all the time. Employees, suppliers, pay you whatever, take your money when you're paying for AdWords, paying commissions across different platforms. So easy decision for Google. Is it a threat to Bitcoin specifically? No, of course not. What Bitcoin has that no payment service, especially a centralized one would have, is decentralization. That is Bitcoin's claim to fame. Outside of that, Bitcoin wouldn't exist because it would have been shut down by every government known to man, or it never would have launched if they had asked permission. Sometimes it's better not to ask permission and to ask for forgiveness. You can ask Facebook about that one, and they'll probably tell you a long sob story. Number 4 on the list of 10, Winklevoss twins, Gemini buys Nifty Gateway, making its first ever acquisition. All right, I don't know what Nifty Gateway is. I don't know if that makes me, I don't know what that makes me, but I'm gonna click on a link here to see what Nifty Gateway is. Must be a pretty nifty gateway, I guess. Gateway to what? No idea. Enables user to buy and manage non-fungible tokens. Okay, NFTs, all right. Okay, look, I think NFTs are kind of cool. And they're kind of cool mainly because, when I was a kid, they never really got into it, but when I was a kid, baseball cards were a big deal. And garbage pail kids. Anybody that lived through the 80s and was old enough to, walk, probably remembers garbage pail kids. If you don't know what they are, don't remember them, I don't want to tell you what they are because it's fucking ridiculous, to be quite honest. But long story short, they were trading cards with kids on them that lived in garbage pails, drawings. And it's not actual kids living in garbage pails. Don't call any government phone numbers. But they were drawings of kids, just dirty kids, kids with like mutant kid. It was ridiculous. I think they actually resurged. Actually, you can buy them again now in the stores. Anyway, so they were big deals. They're big deal. Pokemon cards. My daughter, who's 8, trades Pokemon cards in her school. Pokemon cards. She doesn't even know what she's doing. I mean, they don't even know how to really play the game. Not that I do, but but they trade them. So non-fungible tokens will probably become the tradable object of the future. You can also obviously trade already, artifacts in games. And I think artifacts, NFTs, a combination of those two is probably going to be big. So cool for the Winklevoss twins. I think it's something that we've talked about at CoinMetro as well. It shows, again, my theory that if you're a crypto exchange, you need to diversify revenue streams. Because if you just focus on exchanging crypto, your days will be numbered, right? We have NFT coming in, open VASP, and all this other nonsense. All these things are going to induce cost, administrative cost at a minimum. And the more cost you induce on a commission-based model, the more that model becomes ineffective. So, makes sense. Hats off to the Winklevoss twins. Number 5 on the list of 10, hackers inject coin-stealing malware into official Monero crypto wallet. That's a bummer for Monero, and it's anonymous. So they probably won't be able to track who stole the money. Maybe they should rethink that full anonymity thing. Number 6 on a list of 10, Binance to launch fiat to crypto services in India after acquisition of Mumbai-based crypto exchange. So what I would say here, this is pretty risky. Now the Mumbai-based crypto exchange, I don't know what their volumes were. I don't know how many clients they had. I know the stance that India has on crypto, even though they haven't officially taken it yet. Wink, wink. Binance obviously can add a myriad of more clients to that exchange and to those gateways, right? They also are different owners who haven't perhaps at this point been KYC'd and everything by the gateways, the fiat to crypto gateways that were opened with PSPs, payment service providers, banks, etc., by this Mumbai-based crypto exchange. And they money starts to flow in much higher quantities, and it starts to flow from different parts of the world. And they have to re-KYC the owners. They might have an issue. It's not that easy to buy into a financial business, because the financial business, friends, we have bank accounts. We have bank accounts mainly because of the people at the top of the chain were able to get the bank accounts and able to show that they should be trusted by the bank. When you bring in new people at the top, they also need to be trusted. And if they're not, you lose the account. Any type of shift like that can cause a major issue with financial accounts. So you'll have to see how that pans out, but it's not that easy just to flick a switch and move on. Number 7 on the list of 10, crypto research group Masari, Ripple Affiliate Foundation is a corporate tax shelter. All right, so people who don't know Masari, these guys essentially have a website that has analytics. They break down different things: top 10 coins, top 10 volumes, coins by sector, how the sector's doing, like the financial sector, the e-commerce sector, etc. They also do it, I think, for FX, if I'm not mistaken. I remember the name from years ago. Obviously, this is an opinion of theirs. The Affiliate Foundation is a corporate tax shelter. Look, I think a lot of people take stabs at Ripple because, well, it's pretty easy to. They're a public company. They're pretty open. Maybe not as open as CoinMetro, but they're pretty open. They obviously, sell a lot of their tokens in order to fund operations. They have a lot of them. Look, almost any benign setup in any corporation that has money can be twisted a bit and look like it's there to avoid tax. Almost anything. For example, let's say you have a company that has, 1,000 employees, 150 of which are contractors. Why contractors? Well, because maybe the legitimate reason for that is that it allows the company some flexibility and allows them to take on employees from other parts of the world without having any type of onerous paperwork. But what it also does is avoids employee tax from the country where they sit. Some of those employees may sit in the same country they do. So is that a tax shelter? Is that them trying to evade tax? Or is that simply a way for them to be flexible in the way they do business so they don't have to have so much administrative let's say weight on their shoulders, right? So look, they probably have some decent kind of, I want to say evidence. They probably have some decent conclusions on why they think that's true. And it could be true. But I have to say, who cares, right? If it is true, then they're going to get a slap on the wrist. They'll sell some Ripple. They'll sell some XRP, and they'll pay it. So moving on. Number 8 on the list of 10, UK panel defines crypto assets as property and suggests contracts as enforceable agreements. Okay, so they define crypto assets as property. Okay, China did this, and I remember everybody was like, China said Bitcoin's property. They like Bitcoin now. Yay, they're going to legalize it. And I said, well, no, they defined it as property so they can legally seize it and tax it. That's why. And when you inherit it, you can tax it. That's why. So probably this along the same lines here. You need to classify it as something. Classifying as money requires a lot more hurdles than classifying as property, right? Almost anything can be classified as property. At one point in the future, in the history of this world, people were classified as property. And smart contracts as enforceable agreements. So that's probably a step. That's a hard one. The enforceable agreement is hard. Smart contracts aren't really contracts. They're not that smart, right? They're code. If this, then that. If this happens, then that should happen. But it should happen. It's probably sure that it'll happen, but it may not happen. And that may not happen simply because of the protocol it sits on or because it could break. So I don't know about that one. Enforceable agreement is going to be difficult, at least in the current iteration of what smart contracts are and how they work. Number 9 on the list of 10, Binance denies police raids very existence of Shanghai offices. Yeah, I read this one. I don't know. It'd be really stupid of them to have an office in China. That doesn't mean they don't have an office in China. it also means that they could simply deny it. You know, China, anybody who knows China, China is, you know, one of the places in the world where trademark infringement is rampant, right? You literally can find stores, not just, you know, in some cities you'll go to, you know, Chinatown or whatever, unfortunately, and you'll find, you know, knockoff, whatever, Rolexes and knockoff, you know, Louis Vuitton bags and all the Prada bags, all this stuff, right? In China, though, you can find counterfeit stores, a complete store, completely counterfeit. So maybe there's a counterfeit finance office. Why not? You know, I have no idea. Not here to defend Binance. Absolutely not here to defend Binance. But I'd like to see how this one shakes out, because I tend to think, you know, that it might actually, I don't know, it'll be interesting. We'll see. Number 10 on the list, 10, IRS demands Coinbase records in surprise tax probe, demands all transactions from US clients in 2013. Not really a surprise, is it? I mean, the IRS sent out about 10,000 letters asking people about their crypto transactions. I think they sent out another XXX thousand of them recently. Coinbase is probably the biggest US exchange by volume, probably by way of amount of accounts as well, since they're one of the oldest, and they have been in all 50 states for quite some time. So yeah, and guess what? The IRS will get those records. For sure, they'll get those records. Coinbase probably put up a fight so that they don't look, you know, like they're just handing them over and then their clients get pissed. But they'll get those records. And that is one of the, let's say, issues with doing business in a well-regulated country, especially US when it comes to taxes. The IRS, I think, famously has now something like 7,500 enforcement agents. That's a big branch of the government just for tax collection, which, by the way, is unconstitutional. So there you go. All right, moving on, guys. So I'm going to move on to Kevin Explains Crypto. It took us a little longer than 10 minutes. This is about 13 minutes. Wow, maybe 18 minutes. I don't know what it took, but we got through those 10. So Kevin Explains Crypto this week, mainnet. So anybody around crypto, especially if you're a developer, knows what mainnet means, as opposed to testnet. So I'll break it down in two ways, right? If you're a programmer or know anything about programming outside of blockchain, then obviously you've heard of, let's say, production and test environments, right? Or sandbox environments. We talk a lot about sandboxes on this show, not necessarily in development capacity, but so when you are making a new piece of software or some new code, obviously before you put it live, before you put it in a production environment, you want to test it. So you'll put it in a clone of your production environment. Let's say, for example, this is a fintech piece of software, right? You need to test this. It's going to be moving money. You don't want to move real money when you're testing, because what if it doesn't work? It's broken, or it causes a bunch of losses, right? Or you just lose money all over the place. So you put it in a test environment. So you have one server that actually does transactions. You have another server that mimics this server, but transactions are in demo mode. They don't actually move money, right? So that would be your test environment. So on blockchain, you have a test net. Testnet is where you test. You can move coins and tokens back and forth between accounts. You can test for throughput, how much transaction volume you can do, all those good things. But at the end of the day, none of the transactions are actually real. No real financial information, data, or money is changing hands. On the mainnet, this is your production environment. When you put something on the mainnet, you're actually doing real transactions that are now irreversible. And if you're talking about tokens, coins, or anything with some type of monetary value, you're moving money. So that's what mainnet is. I think we got somebody on the chat impersonating a police officer or something. This will be fun to go through. Okay, so there you go. I'll get to Reddit, guys, here in a bit. I'm going to scroll back up and see what all this commotion is about here. Hello there, a Jack Nicholson knockoff. Because of the hair. Not really a Jack Nicholson knockoff, but you know, there's a lot of bald guys. I don't know if you know that. I mean, maybe in the cave where you live, you don't see many people, but you know, population of bald guys is growing, bro. We're getting strong, that's for sure. Okay, Fergus, Is XRP's use case of getting banks to use it a bridge currency, basically a legal version of wash trading, as banks would be trading in and out XRapid through Ripple partner exchanges? No, it's not. It's a settlement system. So it's along the same lines of what we're creating with the CSD, except we're doing that for securities transactions. Ripple's XRapid is a settlement system between banks. So it allows them to settle their books instantly rather than having to wait T1, T2, T3. So 1, 2, 3 days to settle between normal means, which would be Swift wires or the like. So it's a settlement. It's an instant, very cheap settlement system. It has nothing to do with wash trading. What's new on funding, Bjorn? It took a while. I didn't see it. Unless you asked it before, sorry. So yeah, Bjorn. Funding. So news on funding is the agreements signed. I think we're waiting on one final signature for one of the investors in the group, but that should come maybe even today. We'll see. And funds have started to roll in. First wire transfers have hit our books. I expect all transfers to be in by next week. So drum roll, please. Somebody do a drum roll. Done. We still need to receive a few transfers, but it's done. So next week, I think we can actually pop a cork. Maybe we'll even do it on the AMA, pop the cork, money in the bank. There'll be a few things that need to be amended. I think some of these wires that came in didn't have the correct message to beneficiaries, so we could register them with the registry. So we may have to have an amendment done there. But suffice it to say that it's done. So next week, we should have everything on hand. Masari means money in Arabic. Well, good name, I guess. This is something my team could get behind. All right, War Series. Not sure what that means, but right on. Mitchell asking, where is your current location? What is your jurisdiction? Are you asking that to me, Mitchell? I'm sitting in Mexico. That's not my jurisdiction, but it is where I'm currently sitting in this chair. Any news on the 25 currencies? So, no specific news, unfortunately. Again, I've been traveling. This trip was unexpected. For those of you who listen to every one of these AMAs, you probably know that I lived in Mexico for 19 years. So aside from the fact I had a bit of business to do here, and I may even hold an actual little educational seminar over the weekend with 10 to 15 people that are interested in crypto and maybe even a few people from the government. So we'll see. But aside from doing a little bit of business, I had to take care of some personal issues, and I had to pick up some documentation that we need for Montenegro, police clearance reports, all that good stuff, which unfortunately you need to do in person. So blockchain, guys, seriously, but you have to do it in person. So found a nice cheap ticket and bought it on Sunday, was here on Monday. Finally picking up some of the documentation I need today, resubmitting for Apostle, all this nonsense, which again, blockchain can solve so eloquently. So haven't unfortunately been in touch about the 25 currencies, been in touch with the company who's helping us put that together, but on other communications. So I'm going to write that one down literally. And anybody hear the alarm in the background? Sorry about that, but I really don't feel like running to turn it off. So just, hopefully nobody hears it. Have you thought about opening YouTube super chat option? My guys can send 200 your way. Don't know what the YouTube super chat option is, to be honest. And I don't know. Don't send me $200. To me personally, don't send me your money. You can sign up for an account at CoinMetro and send your money there and hopefully make some money. But don't send it to me. Brilliant news on funding. Congratulations, Kevin, and the whole CoinMetro team. Yeah, I see Oliver was down there banging a drum. So Oliver's been was quintessential in getting this deal put together. So hats off to Oliver. Hats off to Aaron, who everybody knows here by the way of Pizza Time. The Pizza Time? Pizza Time? I think it's Pizza Time, yeah. Hats off to those guys. They helped put all this together. They got it within an inch of the finish line, and I clumsily pushed it over that finish line over the course of a few weeks. So definitely hats off to those guys. And hats off to the rest of the team. Look, the team we have is at CoinMetro. Most of the people are still there from the core team, the original hires. They're still with us. Obviously, they probably had some sleepless nights about fundraising themselves over the course of the last 11 months, but they stuck with us. They're there. So hats off to everybody. Shout out to everybody in the office, to Maris. First hire, by the way, Maris, my assistant. Hats off to Maris. She's been instrumental in getting paperwork back and forth and emails and all this other nonsense as well. Hats off to Carlo in support, who stays up late nights dealing with crazy customer support requests. Who, again, if he wasn't there, you know, and everybody we have on the team is essential. And hats off to Kert and Dean and finance for making sure that you know, accounts function. People can actually fund their accounts. To Pavel in compliance, to Alina in investor relations. You know, to everybody, to Richard who does SEO work. Look, absolutely, to Regina, also in customer support, Babek in customer support. Now I feel like I need to mention everybody. Salvatore, obviously our CTO, who doesn't sit in Talon, but without him, well, none of this would exist right now. And everybody else, if I haven't mentioned your name, Annalisa, new copywriter, not from the original team, but definitely someone that's there and helps us get the job done. So hats off to everybody, guys, seriously. And everybody here on Telegram, everybody that supported us in our token sale, everybody that supported us since then, everybody that comes here every week and listens to me babble on this AMA, and whether you do it every week or it's your first week doing it, thank you very much. Again, it's a team effort. It has nothing to do just with me. But yeah, I think, as I always said, we will get there. Sometimes it just takes longer than you initially think. Removing XCM sell orders. Yeah, good idea. Congratulations. Now, no more funding questions in Telegram, please. Good news, fantastic news. Okay, everybody's happy. Any updates on MAP, TRAM, XCM fees, debit cards even? So Oliver, if he wants to post something here about MAP, go for it, Oliver. For TRAM, I'm looking at I was following over the last few days back and forth in Slack, a lot of development talk, a lot of small final fixes on the UI. I would say end of next week, that baby's going to be live. Right? Don't quote me on that. But Friday, you can pester me about TRAM. Next Friday, you can pester me about TRAM if it's not there. XCM fees, those should be kicked in right after TRAM is launched. Technically speaking, it's ready to roll. It's just that the focus has been on TRAM. On the debit cards, so same provider with those 25 currency guys as the debit cards. I was supposed to be put in touch with the guys that are now spearheading that project for that company, but I haven't been put in touch. The CEO has been traveling as well. He was around Europe, and now I think he's in Dubai or the United Arab Emirates, somewhere around there. So when he gets back, pizza mind, Jesus, how could I forget that? Thank you. So anyway, when he gets back, I will get a full update on all of that. So next week I should have. I know I say that a lot of times every week, but unfortunately, you know, look. When you're the CEO of a fintech company, just like I am, and just like he is, schedules are just, you know, schedules are for newbies, because at the end of the day, you never know what's going to happen, and sometimes you just need to adjust. So you can schedule all you want, but it's meaningless sometimes. Mexico, huh? I heard they have a lot of crooks there. That's probably racist, but okay. I would say there's crooks everywhere in the world, right? I think, though, what you see in the news here is more about drug dealers than crooks. I don't know if drug dealers are crooks. You pay the money, they give you drugs. I guess they don't give you the drugs. That makes them a crook. Definitely makes them, you know, criminals here because it's illegal to sell drugs. But yeah, there's crooks everywhere, guys. You just need to avoid them. That's it. Don't call me derogatory terms because of my weight. This pillow cushion could flatten your hairy chest. Derogatory terms. I don't even, did I call you a derogatory term? This pillow cushion? All right, Rant and Philly fan. How the Phillies doing, by the way? I don't follow sports, so, you know, I think it's a waste of time. Carlo is definitely a legend. Awesome. Thanks. Another shout out to Carlo. Oliver, you can upgrade from FUD regulator to business mogul now. Look at that. You officially, Oliver, you officially have been given a new rank. You've gone from a 1-star to a 2-star general, and now, yeah, you're a business mogul. Look at that. All it took was 1 AMA, buddy. Wait till you actually get on the AMA and show your face. Ridiculous. The real Dr. Phil. Sir? Sir. So somebody who starts off with the word sir is usually either from India, Pakistan, or perhaps the Middle East. But let's go. The real Dr. Phil. I looked up your history. You're a damn fake. I heard you're a professional scam artist and came onto my show. You can come onto my show and get your debauchery life settled out. All right, the real Dr. Phil. I will come on your show. You can hit me with any accusation you want, and we'll see who comes out the victor. Obviously, you're already bolder than I am. So in that aspect, hats off to you, sir. Great job. Yeah, no problem, sir. No problem, sir. Sir, I will come on your show, sir. Sir, yes, sir. Right away, sir. I like Business Mogul for Oliver. So do I. We need a moderator in this chat to purge these trolls. Yeah, they can add a bit of flavor to a Friday, sometimes. How big is the change to get IOTA on your platform? How big is the chance to get IOTA on your platform? Well, look, next week that fundraising is completely in the bag. We have money on hand, and now we're starting to, I think we have a board meeting scheduled December 12th, which will basically be our strategy meetings, where we'll put everything together for how we're going to put this money to work. On or before that date, so in the next few weeks, I will be pushing LHV to get this self-assessment guideline done. I'll try to meet with them as well. They're going to come out and do an audit of our yearly compliance audit, which is going to happen in January as well. So hopefully it won't take till January, but I'm going to push them to get that done. And this way, part of our strategy now will be a listing strategy. Now that we can bring on market makers, part of that strategy is going to make sure that we bring on things people want to trade. IOTA obviously is in the top probably 20, more or less, maybe even higher. So it's something that we're definitely going to look at. So there's a good chance. Get some moderators. You'll need them in the future. Yep, we'll handle that. Hey, Oliver, you want to be a moderator on YouTube? Awesome, bro. Business mogul. I mean, why not? What was the amount finally finalized for funding? Since it all hasn't hit the account yet, I don't want to mention a number. Let's just say that the number that was shared already on previous AMAs, it's slightly larger than that. But it's runway, guys, for us to scale up, spend a decent amount of money on marketing, and cover our burn rate for roughly 7 months. And the goal within that 7 months is self-sustainability above all else. So the goal is to make sure that we get as close or above self-sustainability as we can. And what that allows us to do then is go and basically bring on debt. So there's already companies that'll loan us money for MTF licensing, all that good stuff. Once we get to a certain percentage of self-sustainability, 30, 50, 70% self-sustainability in terms of costs on a month-to-month basis. And then we can just get really cheap money, really cheap debt to fund all the licenses and everything else we need for expansion. So that's the goal. Market makers next week. Definitely market makers will now be put into motion. I will probably send an email today. Try to get on a call more than likely on Monday. I was actually supposed to be on a call today, Jesus, with a market maker at 7 a.m. local time. I completely forgot about it. I thought it was after the AMA, not before, for some reason. So now I have to apologize to them. They're probably not listening, but if they are, my apologies. But yes, not sure exactly how long it's going to take us to turn it on. Because they're going to have to move funds into place. They're going to have to run some conformance tests on the live system once they have funds in place. But next week is possible, but definitely now it'll start moving. That's for sure. Laugh out loud. Jeff Bruick on YouTube goes on and on about how dangerous Mexico is. All right. Always being sarcastic with his comment stuff. How dangerous Mexico is. Yeah, well, look, I lived here for 19 years. So you want stories about Mexico, I can tell you any possible story you want. What I would say is that every country in the world has a pocket that's dangerous. Some are less dangerous than others. The US, man, there are parts of the US that I wouldn't let my kids walk down the street. There are parts of Mexico I wouldn't let my kids walk down the street. There are parts of maybe almost every country in the world where I generally wouldn't let my kids walk down the street, where I wouldn't be driving around at 1 a.m. with my windows down, etc. So yes, Mexico has its problems, and it's had its problems since its existence. It's always been a violence-prone country. Unfortunately, you can go all the way back to the initial civilizations here. They were quite brutal. The initial civilization. Well, I can give you a history lesson. Mayan builders initially weren't actually they didn't fight. They were nomads. They went across southeastern up into the southwestern, sometimes into the middle part of the country. These are the guys essentially that were the predecessors to the Mayans who created the temples and the pyramids, Olmecs and all kinds of other native Indian populations that existed in this area. Then what happens is they were storing cactus in basically basements, right? They constructed houses below ground because of the heat. And they were leaving cactuses in clay pots, and they fermented. Someone drank that liquid, and thought they saw the gods. But what that alcohol did, tequila basically, or mezcal, or pulque, which is another alcohol made from, basically made them aggressive. And they started to fight amongst themselves. And that led to them fighting with other tribes. That led to them inventing weapons. And then that led to basically, all-out massacres. It's a crazy story, but it's true. And since then, Mexico's always had a problem with violence. So it's an educational issue, to be quite honest, and it's one that you can't solve easily. It takes generations and generations. Think about, Miami back in the 80s. I wouldn't have went to Miami at all. Miami was drug prone, guns in the street, Uzis, lots of killings. I think they had something, it was in the thousands, I think, or at least close to 1,000 killings in 1 year in Miami, maybe 900. That's 3-4 a day. And they were in the street in broad daylight. So look, my point is to say, as I go off on a tangent here about Mexico, that yeah, there's definitely parts of Mexico that are dangerous, for sure. But if you're not looking to buy drugs and you're not mitigating with the wrong people, yep, you could probably catch a stray bullet on the street if someone gets shot. That's for sure. That could happen to you in Los Angeles. It could happen to you in New York. It could happen to you in Paris. So. So I got John Paul. I let these things come through, right? So I am blocked. This is a blocked message from Mr. John Paul here. You un-American scumbag. Give my money back, you thief. I gonna give you what for? Here's my number. So anybody wants to call John Paul, who obviously is not a client of ours. I don't even know who he is. Kind of looks like the Pope in the very small avatar there. Maybe it's John Paul II. I don't know. Spike and Mike's life insurance. I've had past involvement in the sports gambling business. You should check Vegas out sometime. Wouldn't call sports a waste of time at all. Look, I used to do sports betting arbitrage. So I'm a finance guy. I'm not against making money. I'm not against sport. I do go to the gym. I played sports when I was in high school. I played sports as an adult here and there. I'm not against sport. I'm against sitting on the couch for 4 hours on a Monday to watch other guys, throw a ball around when I could be doing something more productive. For me, that's a waste of time. To watch sports on TV is a waste of time. I've been to see sports live. It's a different experience. You go there with some friends, fine. But for me, yeah, watching sports on TV is ridiculous. I don't understand it. Everybody who does it's fine. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with them doing it. I'm saying for me personally, it's ridiculous. And yeah, I've been to Vegas before. And yeah, sports arbitrage. I actually created a robot to do sports arbitrage back in 2003, before it even really came online. I think it was roughly maybe it was 2002 actually, maybe. Anyway, 2003 to 2005, sports arbitrage became a thing. By then, it was more difficult to make money, but my system made money for quite many years and did quite well. Real Dr. Phil again. Well, I'll let you know the victor will be me. Clearly, you have no sense of life and happiness. You clearly scamming people with your knowledge. Scamming people with your knowledge. Why don't we talk about the info you talking about? Dr. Phil, man, seriously, I thought you had a better vocabulary and a little better way. Your vernacular here is Are you just upset while you're typing? Are you anxious? Maybe you should sit down and drink some water. Ideas for CMO and COO positions? Not necessarily. Well, ideas. I have ideas. Yes. Do we have people lined up or something like that? The answer to that question would be no. We don't have people lined up. However, we definitely have ideas who we're looking for. That's for sure. So Dr. Phil again here. I'm a fraud. Look, Dr. Phil, throw some actual facts out there if you have any, which you don't, and we'll discuss them. That's it. I have nothing to discuss about myself being a fraud or life is a fraud, because I'm not a fraud and my life isn't fraud. So I actually use my real name. I am Kevin Murcko. I'm not, obviously you are the real Dr. Phil. I mean, it says it right in your name, right? I mean, why would someone come on YouTube and type in the real Dr. Phil if they're not? 3 million confirmed, says Crispy. Not quite. Thanks for your reply. I think IOTA is a very good project, can change the world. I hope they do. Jesus, I'm gonna let this one go from real Dr. Phil too. I don't know why, but it's Friday. So you're in Mexico. You may not even make it back to my show. You may get gangbanged. Nice. Your weak self is not making it alive for sure. Yeah, I lived here for 19 years, bro. I don't know if you missed that, because I said it now like 6 or 7 times. I mean, you're getting old, so maybe your hearing doesn't work. But yeah, I lived here for 19 years, made it. Lived in Chihuahua actually for 2 of those years. Look that one up, right? And I lived there during 2008, 2009, 2010. The worst years for drug trafficking through Chihuahua, 15, 16 murders a day. And I used to walk to the store every day to buy groceries about 2 kilometers from my house every day, 2 to 3 times a day. And I'm still here. So any more IEOs this year? Yeah, we're talking to one right now. Once we get a little further down the line, we'll release some information on it. How's the CSD going? Development going as planned. We're on now sprint 5 of 8, I think, something like that, or 10. I think 8. So anyway, but it's moving along. When I get back to Estonia, actually, it's supposed to be in Riga on Thursday next week to sit down and discuss with those guys about the development. I may miss that meeting, though my colleague will go in my place, because I may still be here as I wait for documentation. But hopefully I'll make it. But yeah, everything's going on as planned. Focus on CM relation. Focus on CM questions. Don't waste anyone's time. Yeah. I'm moving on from the trolls. Just sometimes I can't help it. Sorry, guys. What are the plans for marketing? Can you share some marketing strategy that CM is going to deploy? Roughly how many new users can we expect in the next 6 months? So specific plans for. So obviously, look, marketing. The channels you use for marketing, everybody uses the same channels, right? It's about how you use those channels. I don't want to, I hate when people say thinking outside of the box, right? Because what box? I mean, I've said it before too, but what box? Whose box? My box? Your box? His box? But it's not really about channels we're going to use, right? We're going to use the channels everybody else uses. It's about focusing on USPs, who we're focusing on, clientele we're looking for, et cetera. So we're looking right now, to be honest, that December 12th meeting part of that meeting is going to be discussed how we move forward with initial tests, because before we spend 6 figures on marketing, we need to fine tune our strategy, not just the strategy, but the content we're going to be using. So you need to test content. You spend maybe 5-10K overall over a month to 2 months testing content. The content you see that gives the highest ROI, you start to spend more money. You gradually build up to the point that you're spending more and more, but you're also getting more and more ROI, which supports you spending more and more without having to dig back in to your capital reserves. So I think we're going to mix some local marketing in local markets. We're going to mix some global marketing like Google and more SEO focus, branching out some different SEO strategies that we haven't used yet. Using paid marketing like through social, through Facebook, through Twitter, all these good things. And then, probably pushing some more viewership, maybe even into this show, perhaps morphing it into some other type of show, looking for opportunities to get onto other media. In terms of 6 months, right now, if I look at the numbers in terms of what we make per client, we are looking to gain roughly 70,000 new clients in the next 6 months. Well, 7 months, roughly 10,000 clients a month. So the goal will be about 3 to 350 clients a day. That's the goal. All right. Okay, Dr. Phil, see you there. Do you agree with me? Okay. Yeah, lots of trolls. Hey, Kevin. Oh, this. This is what are the ideas for marketing CoinMetro? Okay, so again, we don't want to give the strategy before the war, so to speak. But more information will be given on that, and actually you will see the marketing once it starts to happen. Just December, roughly beginning of December, we start the strategizing. By the end of December, we will start rolling out tests. I told you 60 to 90 days from when the money is received to when real marketing actually starts, and that's the time it takes us to build out. But in that time, we won't necessarily have ramped up either. So we're not going to increase spending over those, and we're going to try to keep that to 60 days. But I say 90 just to be cautious. Obviously, in those days, though, we will be marketing. We'll just be marketing on a lower budget and testing. And once we find something that works, if we find something that works in 30 days, then we can start ramping up right there. If it takes us 60 days, well, it takes a bit longer, obviously. Do you have a comment about Binance US providing institutional liquidity in partnership with the Targomi company? Not really. Institutional liquidity in this market makes me laugh all the time because there's not really an institutional market. Look at Grayscale. They're the biggest hedge fund in Bitcoin. I think, what is it, 2 billion under management? So what? There was a 4 billion exit scam by a Ponzi that collected Bitcoin in China. So there is no institutional market, guys. There is a market that isn't completely retail, but to really start talking about institutional, I think, look, at the end of the day, providing liquidity to institutional investors or to non-retail is an easier game because you don't need to explain so many things. You don't need to work so much on interface, etc. But right now, to be honest, I think the people who unlock the expansion of the retail market are the ones that see the most prolonged success. Obviously, though, once that happens, more institutional liquidity is needed. But those that untap the new retail liquidity become the liquidity providers on the institutional side. How do you think Binance became a liquidity provider? Well, they got all the retail volume. But now the retail volume is probably starting to climax, meaning they're getting to a point where they're saturating the amount of clients that they have. They're definitely not receiving the same amount of clients per day as they were end of 2017, early 2018, for sure. So now they're branching out. And now they have some liquidity to share. Great. But they haven't been able to branch into many homes around the world. And expanding that retail market is our focus, because if you don't expand the retail market, you don't expand the institutional market either. There is no institutional market without the retail market. When it comes to potential candidate for IO listing, is it the case that they approach CM or the other way around? Both. We don't really approach anyone, but within our circles, within people that I may talk to that say, "Oh, look, we're probably going to do an IO," and I say, "Oh, well, you can do it with us." But for the most part, at least for Parsec, I was kind of in the middle there, I guess. We were talking about other things. They decided they want to do an IO. I said, well, we can help you with that. When it comes to the one that we're currently talking to, they came to us. They came to us because someone that works on their team had previously worked for us. So it's a combination, right? There's no specific way that people approach us. Yeah, 4chan seems to be alive and well here, that's for sure. It's ridiculous. Once margin posting is done, what will be the next endeavor for your development team? So once margin posting is up, well, I think it's going to be a clear, we're going to clearly start focusing on the challenger bank aspects. So that's going to be kind of fine-tuning more payments, fine-tuning different services. Look, Pakistan, there's a use case in Pakistan for freelancers, right? They don't have a way to be paid. So that's something that we're going to tackle. I actually had some messages back and forth with someone from our Telegram group about a specific platform that provides kind of like accounting and other services to fintechs that may fit perfectly into that challenger bank aspect. So remittance, these type of things. Platform already can pretty much do all that, but it's going to require some UI, some different UI, some different techniques, some different ways on how we transact. It's probably going to require an EMI license, which is a license we probably could acquire. We're looking to acquire an AR license, which is an authorized representative license of an EMI or a payment institution in the UK. That's probably going to happen Q1 next year, and then we'll look to enhance that license into our own license, right? Get away from the AR model. But with that, yeah, I think that's probably going to be one of the major focuses. And there still will be constant updates, not constant, there'll still be updates on dashboards and mobile. We definitely need to focus on mobile as well. Mobile is something I've been pressing hard on the guys. Mobile. Making Simplex part of the wallet system so that you don't have an additional platform to do a quick exchange. It's just like at a bank when you want to do an FX transaction. You have Euro in your account, you go, I want Bitcoin, you just click, done. So there's going to be improvements all around. We will start condensing, improving, and then build out challenger bank infrastructure. I think that's probably the next big step. Sorry if I miss any real questions here, but I'm trying now to scan through all the nonsense. That's some target of 350 clients a day. What percentage of those would be traders? Have you targeted in mind for the number of tram traders you wish? It's actually not that big of a target. I mean, if you hear the numbers, even currently that go through some of the top maybe 10, 20 exchanges, it's a minuscule number. The key is that we need to keep client acquisition to maybe a max number in single digits. And once we do that, once we find copy that works, ROI that works, and we keep the client acquisition cost below that number, then it's math, guys. Then it's just rinse and repeat. Marketing is all about numbers. It's not so much once you find something that works, you simply churn it. Keep your client acquisition costs low. 350 is, to be honest, at a point, well, during the token sale, we blew through that. That's for sure. When you talk about even the initial launch of the products, we had days where we were seeing 200 to 400 people a day. And that's only on the back of some very small product updates, announcements, etc., internal, which somehow made their ways external. So traders, well, define trader. They all will use the platform in some way, shape, or form. In terms of tram traders, once we have a menu of 2 or 3 trams that are profitable, it's very easy to get people to invest. It's much harder to get them to trade. So I would suspect anywhere from 30 to 60% of new clients would end up on that tram platform. What are your views on institutional markets versus retail markets? What are CM's priorities? The institutional market really doesn't exist. So retail is our focus 100%. We are a retail brand. When you build out a successful retail brand, you can become an institutional liquidity provider because you get that liquidity from retail client flow. Without retail client flow, there's no institutional market. There's no market in the world that is strictly institutional. Now, you can talk about markets like, let's say, credit swaps, or you can talk about markets like credit default swaps. And yeah, grandma's not buying in to credit default swaps, however, or credit or any of these exotic. But where does the liquidity come for those products? Where's the credit being pulled from? Who's the ones actually building? Where are they building it from? They're building it from retail. They're building it from mortgages. They're building it from credit cards, etc. All those, or even when it talks about corporate debt. Corporate debt is fueled by the corporation underneath, which is fueled by retail money. It's always retail money, guys, in the end. So it's still an underserved market, and it's underserved and it's untapped. So that's our focus. Have you found the pro tram traders yet? We have 2 companies one is onboarded, one is in the process of onboarding, that both have algorithms that they're going to apply. And we have 1 trader as well that's ready to roll once market makers are on board, manual trader. Oops. Anybody else have a real question here? Let's see. Feels great that funding is coming in as well as Tram. Now I can stop my Telegram tantrums. I'm sure you'll find something else to pester us about, Bjorn. I know you will. I have all the confidence in the world you'll figure that one out. And I appreciate it because it keeps us on our toes. It's good. Yeah, funding was important. Now I can shill easily and debunk FUD left and right. Cool. Will margin posting go live this year? I think so, yes. When is the next block live session? Good question. It's like, I don't know, block delay right now. I don't know, actually. I don't know. They've been doing some reformatting on their side, so I've been in touch with them a little bit. I don't know, though. We'll see. I hope soon. I had a good time on those shows. I think they were educational. I think some of the other guests were great as well. So yeah, we'll see. Tram and margin posting are two different things. That's for sure. How's my #1 digital currency badass doing? Not sure who that is, Red Diablo, but when is Tram? Tram's coming, guys. Almost in the station. I would say by the looks of our development chat channel right now, next week. End of next week. Hey, Kevin, what is your prediction for 2020 in crypto? Do you think market will be more mature? Well, the market can't get more immature. So I guess, yes, it would have to mature. I think, I talked about 2019, 2020 being 2019 kind of being the year of regulation and that carrying over into 2020. I think that's been the case. 2020, we're going to continue with new regulations. We're going to continue with applying old regulations. We're going to see some of these, we're going to see a lot of businesses close. We've already started to see that, mainly smaller exchanges closing so far. We'll start to see some bigger ones, I think, that'll have some problems that will merge, they'll have issues coming forward as these regulations come. So yeah, I think it will mature. Yeah, it's got no other choice. And I think we'll start to see more mature products. And I hope that we focus on more mature products that are more, let's say, retail focused and not mature products that are simply there to over leverage everyone. Leverage is great. Look, as a business owner, as an exchange owner, leverage is great. You guys want to trade at 100 to 1 or whatever. We just make way more money. So awesome. But at the same time, it puts a bad light on the industry. That leverage light has been on FX for years, and it's been there so long that it's pushed, all the major regulators, to force leverage from unlimited down to only 100 to 1, and then down to 30, 25 to 1, etc. We don't need that type of focus right now when the focus on it, the light on our industry is already kind of still bad. It's not as bad as it was, but there's still negative connotations all over the place about crypto. And now we're trying to push high leverage products to retail guys. There's a better way to do it. There's a better way to do it. And we'll see how it. But yeah, it's got to mature. It's no real choice. Any news of Hansa Coin? I have absolutely no news for Hansa Coin. I haven't been active there, so I don't really know what's going on. I've heard that they've had some successes and they're building things, but yeah, no news. Well done on funding. Looking forward to new products. Keep the future of CM looking a bit more solid. Keep up the great work. Thanks, Fergus. Appreciate it. Did you see the Netflix Game Changers about veganism? What do you think about it? No, I haven't actually. I haven't. It's one of the documentaries I haven't seen, I guess. Look, I don't do it because I became vegan because my ex-wife asked me to do it, and I did it. And now that I've done it, it's hard for me to throw in the towel, guys. Like now I feel like if I give up, I'm giving up, right? I'm also gluten-free now, but that's mainly for health issues. So I think that, look, if everybody went vegan, everybody wanted to eat raw and healthy, we'd have no food on this planet. The industrial, food industry that exists is how most people around the world eat. Maybe they don't eat that healthy, but they eat. So, not everybody can be vegan. Not everybody can eat raw food. Not everybody can. So, everybody does what they feel they want to. Being vegan can be very unhealthy because it's hard to get the minerals and vitamins and everything you need being vegan. It's not easy. But also, it can be very healthy. Just like you can eat meat and everything and be healthy for sure. That doesn't mean you're not healthy, but you can also be very unhealthy. it's just about choosing a diet that works for you, that you feel good with, that makes that gives you the results you want. And that's it. Any news on cement Dow? I saw a discussion while I've been traveling here that I think we're waiting on maybe something from legal to finalize before we push. And actually LHV, because we haven't submitted anything because we're waiting on the self-assessment guideline. So more than likely it's going to be sitting until we get the self-assessment guideline, or we push through an additional set of tokens for their approval. One of those we will do over the next 2 weeks. Either we will be pushing and hopefully receive that self-assessment guideline, or we will draft out another set of tokens for their approval. Ranting Philly, seriously, why do you keep talking about you being fat? Who mentioned the fact that, I don't know, it's like self-deprecation. I don't get it. Now that funding is in and they're going to be developers on board to speed up development. More developers don't necessarily speed up development. That's one, but yes, we're looking to hire some additional people in development. So Anatoly Resnick, the guy that's the architect behind Parsec, and the guy that's one of our architects behind the CSD, famously said to me one time, 9 women can't have a baby in 1 month. And there you go. Yeah, 1 to 2 developers can definitely do more work than 1, but having 1,000 developers doesn't make you get there 1,000 times quicker. You know, so the people have different skill sets. Sometimes you just simply can't have that many people working on something because you can't subdivide it. Sometimes if you do subdivide it, it takes longer. So yeah, we will hire some people, and that will increase a bit our output, that's for sure, but only to a certain extent. It's more about making sure that we have people that know what they're doing, and that can focus once we get through all of our main product builds, which we're very close to doing. We can start focusing on auxiliary services and then put people on individual tasks. All right, guys. So it's been about an hour now, I think, more or less. Didn't get to the Reddit questions this week. We'll get to them next week, hopefully back in Talon at that time. Hi to everybody in the Talon office if you're watching. Thanks for all the support. I already said thank you at the beginning of the show, but I'll say it again. Thanks, guys. Great news on funding, team effort, awesome. Also, I heard around the grapevine that the CoinMetro T-shirt of the Month Club is almost here. We should have our first T-shirts ready to roll here. So we may actually get that swag shop open now in the next weeks or so. So cool news there. But yeah, funding news, awesome. Definitely next week. Hopefully we can pop a cork on the AMA. And yeah, let's see how that rolls. Again, thank you guys. Thanks for coming in. Thanks for all the comments. Thanks for all the questions. Appreciate it. Thanks for the time spent. Have a good weekend. Spend time with friends and family. Don't look at prices. Buy some XCM. You know the drill. Same drill every week. And see you guys. Tag me on Telegram if you need something. I still check more often than I should. Anyway, guys, appreciate it. Appreciate the time. Appreciate you guys. And signing off. Adios.